Okay. It's okay. Good to see everybody. And Be'ezrat Hashem, today we are going to have so many studies because we are... can I have some quiet now? Okay? We are going to have so many studies today because we are coming to the new book of Devarim, and that book is called Mishnah Torah, a review of the entire Torah. Why is it called Mishnah Torah? You open the book, or I'll open the book, and we start right away. And this Shabbos is also called Shabbos Chazon, because it's a Shabbos when the vision of the prophet Isaiah has to keep us going. It's the saddest, most tragic Shabbos of the year because it's a Shabbos right before Tisha B'Av. We have Tisha B'Av Monday night and Tuesday, the saddest day in the Jewish calendar year, when our 2 temples were destroyed, when the Jews were expelled from Spain. All the tragedies in Jewish history occurred on that day. World War I started, and World War II was a result of World War I. So it's all connected. And today we are going to start with Parshat Devarim, the 5th book of Torah, and you will get into it as soon as I start the passage. You'll see. And we dedicate this class to Bina Leah Bas Yosef, the mother of our own fellows. It's a Yortzeit tonight. And tonight is also the Yortzeit, I have to tell you, of the Ari. The Ari is the founder of the Kabbalah movement. He was the holiest of men, and I pray that his zehut, his merit, should be with us. The Yortzeit of the Ari. So we are going to start, and hang in there. And if you have any questions afterwards, I'll be very happy to respond. Ela hadvorim, these are words, asher diber Moshe, that Moses spoke, al kol Yisrael, to all the Jewish people, be'ever hayarden, and on the other side of the Jordan, Bamidbar, in the desert, and then he mentions many names, places where the Jewish people were. Well, is this astonishing? Is this something radical? Does it mean anything to the average person? No. What does it really mean? Before Moshe Rabbeinu dies, and he knows he's dying now, God told him he will die. He reviews the entire Torah. All the other 5 books of the Torah, the 4 books of the Torah, all the other 4 books are the commands and the words of God. And Moshe Rabbeinu was simply the microphone who transmitted the words of Hashem. This 5th book are not the words of God, they are the words of Moshe himself. He's speaking from his heart. He's reviewing the Torah to the entire nation. But it's not just reviewing. He's giving tachocha. Tachocha means admonishment. He's admonishing the people. So why is he waiting till before his death to admonish the people? Because no one likes to accept admonishment. But from a dying person you accept it. Admonishment in the Holy Tongue, and I told you many times that the Holy Tongue is definitive. Every word has its own meaning. Like I always tell you, madua means why in English, in Spanish, porque, pourquoi in French, doesn't mean anything. But if you say in Hebrew, madua, means madea, what do I learn from this? Or lama, to what end? Puts a totally different spin on the word. And every word in the Holy Tongue is exactly this. It's a word that could be understood literally, and if it's understood, you understand the meaning of the entire concept. So admonishment in Hebrew is called tochocho. Tochocho doesn't mean really admonishment, but means to demonstrate, to prove. That's what you admonish. If you cannot prove your words, don't admonish, keep quiet. So, if somebody has a stain on their clothing, it's disgusting what a suit you are wearing. How could you go on that way? You have a big stain. Do you do that? No. You say to a person, what is this? So he looks, oh my gosh, I have a stain. Thank you for calling it to my attention. It's a big difference. You have to place a mirror in front of the person. He should see himself. If you cannot allow the person to see himself, then it's better that you should remain silent, because you'll be resented. So that's how you admonish. And before admonish, you admonish yourself. Do I have a hidden agenda? Why am I doing this? Why am I criticizing? Do I have a hidden agenda? Am I looking for faults? Am I looking for problems? Because I have an issue with this person. So admonishment is very tricky. In our generation, we do not have anyone who admonishes. You have just the opposite. It says, Losina, you should not compliment people in the Torah. You don't have to compliment. Did you know that? If you compliment people, you steal from them. What does that mean? Oh, you look so great. As soon as the person leaves, doesn't she look horrible? You go to a store, you want to buy a dress. Oh, that dress is stunning on you. Put it on. Oh, look. And meanwhile, the salesperson just wants to make a sale, and the dress is altogether wrong. People talk, and they don't mean it, and they talk behind your back. Admonish? Who wants to admonish? I don't want to get involved. Why should I get involved? In order to admonish, you have to love a person. You have to care about him. How tragic it is if he has no one to admonish you. Many years ago, I was teaching Hineni at KJ. At KJ, we had 1,500 people at every class. Every Torah class. It was written up in the New York Times, in all the papers, New York Magazine. And there was a gentleman there, a young man. Maybe he was 35. He came from out of town. And one day, he told his boss, where he worked, that he's going to be called for jury duty. He's going to be on jury duty, so he won't be able to come to the class, to business. Fine. No one expects him. 1,500 people, I didn't notice, to be honest with you, whether he was there or not. I hardly knew him. I knew his face, but not really. I never spoke to him. 1,500 people. How can I speak to 1,500 people? Meanwhile, this young man collapsed in his apartment. He had a stroke. Young man. No one opened the door. No one was looking for him. By the time the doorman found him, because he had a delivery, a package he had to sign for, he was half dead. Today, he's a cripple. His mind, his body are totally gone. He's a living skeleton. If you have someone to admonish you, where were you? What's the matter with you? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. What were you doing? Were you hanging around with that guy again? Were you hanging around with that girl again? Did you go to that party? Did you get drunk? Come here, I want to smell your breath. Mom, I'm already 20 years old. Leave me alone. Thank God you have a mom who is concerned. How tragic it is when there is no one who is concerned. No one gives a darn. You want to come at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock drunk? Who cares? Who cares? You want to stay up the whole night and kill yourself? Who cares? You overdose? Who cares? You don't go to work, you just sit around? Who cares? The greatest gift is to have someone who cares enough to admonish you. In our country, in our society, keep your nose clean, don't get involved. In Judaism, we admonish. But you have to know how. So we're going to learn tonight from Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, the teacher par excellence, the rabbi of all of the Jewish people, how to admonish. Listen carefully. Ela hadvorim, these are the words. The word devarim means disciplinary words, harsh words, difficult words. Ela means these. Now, those of you know Hebrew, the Hebrew language is different from all other languages. Every letter in the alphabet is also a number. So A, Aleph, is also 1. Base, B, is also 2, and so on. So we add up the numbers. That's the study of Kabbalah. And when you add up the numbers and see what word you come up with, from this word or that word, you will discover secrets. So the word Elah comes out to 36. These are the words. These are the harsh words. Elah, these. 36. Why 36? It took him 36 days to admonish the nation. 36 days. One couldn't have said this just in one day. He could have. Why 36? Why 36? You have to be so careful. One by one. One by one. Sit down with somebody. I want to talk to you. I just want you to know, I can't stand the way you come home, always with an attitude. As long as we are talking, I also have to tell you, I just can't stand the way you get on the phone right away you go to the computer. I can't stand it. I can't stand the way you dress. I can't stand the way you eat, and you go on and on. I can't stand it when you don't want to go to visit my mom. And you call my mother monster-in-law, instead of mother-in-law, monster-in-law. I can't stand it. Who do you think you are? Go on and on. And you haven't earned a living. I have to scramble. Can you do that? You get indigestion. Just one admonishment. Just one criticism at a time. Just say one thing. And say it with kindness, with a smile on your lips and a kind smile in your eyes. And you reach out to the person. I would like to tell you something. And believe me, if I wouldn't care for you, I wouldn't say anything. Do you know I care for you? If I wouldn't care, I wouldn't get involved. Can I talk to you? Would you be insulted? Can I say something? Sure, go ahead. And you tell the person that one thing that bothers you. After you digest that, the next day you tell something else. 36 days it took him. What is 36? 2 times Chai. Chai means life. You should have a life in this world and the next world. You admonish so that a person should have life. Because otherwise, God forbid, your years go by, become 90 years old, 60, 70, 80, and say, where did the years go? Why did I waste my time? Before a soul is ever created, God creates a beautiful portrait in the heavens above, what that soul should accomplish on this planet. When you die, the angels escort you to the heavenly gallery. And you see the portrait that God made of you. And next to it is the portrait that you made with your own words, with your own lips, with your own hands. And you say, oh my God, what on earth was I thinking of? What on earth I was thinking of? How did I do that? But it's too late. It's too late. So if you really want to live a meaningful life, you need somebody to tell you what is right and what is wrong. Wives were created. The first one was created by God to be as a connector, a helpmate. No. Connector means against him. You are going to help him by being against him. Honey, I don't think that's a good idea. Honey, don't you think that you should go and take a class in the Torah? Be so good for you. Be so good for the family. Honey, you are so handsome. That suit doesn't become you. Not to say, oh, you look disgusting, but the suit doesn't become you. You have to know how to admonish. It doesn't do you justice, darling. It doesn't bring forth your best features. You have to know how to admonish. The female has to be the one to help her husband, to protect him, to elevate him. Unfortunately, today, the female has quit, resigned. She doesn't admonish anymore. And what she does? Honey, can we go to Bermuda? Honey, I would like to have a new piece of jewelry. Honey, I want this, I want that. The girls today do not look to admonish the soul. The girls today dig into the pockets. And there is no one at home. Our homes have become jungles. Everyone is afraid to say something. Parents are afraid to speak to their children. How many times has it happened to me that parents come to me, Rebbetzin, could you speak to my daughter? Could you speak to my son? Could I speak? Why don't you speak? I say, I'm the mother, I can't. I'm the father, I can't. Is this insane? The mother can't, the father can't, but me, a stranger, can. Is this insane? Is this a sick society? Admonish. We have a tragic story of two people, Kamsa Bakamsa, that destroyed the Holy Temple. There was hatred between them. There was a man who had an enemy, a Kamsa and a Bar Kamsa. One was an enemy, one was a friend. So in those days, when you made a party, you told your servant to deliver the invitation. The servant delivered the invitation, but made a mistake, delivered it to the enemy, not to the friend. It's an easy mistake. Kamsa or Bar Kamsa. One is an enemy, one is a friend. So now the enemy is so happy. Oh, he got an invitation. He's going to that party. Comes in. Who invited you? I'm sorry, I got this invitation. Well, if you got this, that's a mistake. Get out. Please don't embarrass me. Can I just stay for a few minutes? Get out. I can't stand you. Get out. You understand? Get out. Listen, I'll pay for the party. I'll pay for it. Did you hear me? Get out. Before I embarrass you and have you physically removed. He's removed physically. And the entire nation is punished and the temple is destroyed. Why? Not because of these two people, but the rabbis who were sitting there were too humble. You cannot be too humble. See something wrong? Stop! Cut it out! Don't go on being namby-pamby. When somebody is in trouble, when somebody does terrible things, speak up. Stop it. Cut it out. Otherwise you are to blame. When you are kind to the cruel, you know what they're saying, when you are kind to the cruel, you become cruel to the kind. If some would have killed Hitler, that would have been an act of kindness. And someone could have done that. But they didn't. The gentleman. When you're kind to the cruel, then the cruel become kind, cruel become cruel to the kind. Do you understand this? So you have to be very careful. Admonish. Step by step. 36 days it took. My husband of blessed memory always said, you cannot read a phone book one by one, name by name. You cannot admonish in one shot. 36 days. So how does he admonish? First of all, he has the entire nation, the Kol Bnei Israel, all the Jewish people had to be there. Why? Because now he's admonishing. And if somebody's not there, they'll say, you listen to that? If I would have been there, I would have told him, cut out the nonsense. I would have told off Moses. Who is he to admonish us? I would have told him off. Everyone has to be there. Everyone. You have something to say? Say it now. You have something to say? Say it now. Because if not, somebody is always going to say, you're a fool, you took that? I would have spoken up. Everyone has to be present. Everyone. Something to say? Say it now. And then he mentions names of different places. That's admonishment. Names of different places. Doesn't make sense. Bamidbar in the desert. What admonishment is in that? Bamidbar, you are in the desert. You have to learn humility. Nothing grows. Everything is barren. You are totally dependent on God. And the manna. And the water from the rock. Everything is miraculous. Learn humility. Every word is an admonishment. Lovon means white. You complain about the manna that God sent you? Complaining. Complaining is one of the worst sins. That people are always complainers. Always having something to say. Don't know the meaning of hakara stuff, appreciation. They always have something to say. Those of you who are single and plan to get married, never marry a complainer. They'll make your life miserable. Even if you go on vacation, who made these reservations? Everything has something wrong with it. They destroy life. Never marry a complainer. Always sees the fault rather than that which is good. Be careful. So the manna was the most delicious food. It took care of all your nutrients. It gave you strength. It gave you a wonderful digestion. It was amazing food from heaven. Complaining. Manna again. We want to go back to Egypt if we had garlic and fish and watermelon. Come on. What they had in Egypt? Beatings. Starvation. All of a sudden, Egypt was good. In retrospect, the good old days. Give me a break. We are always complaining. This house is not good. This is not good. That is not good. People are complainers. Jews are not permitted to be complainers. We have to say, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. I thank God every day for everything. A wonderful word, Baruch Hashem. Thank God. Doesn't really mean thank God. It means blessed be God. So someone says to you, how do you feel? You feel so sick. But what do you say? Baruch Hashem. Blessed be God. Does it mean that you feel good? No. Does it mean that you feel bad? No. Blessed be God. You bless God for everything. Chayav Odom, it says, a man is commanded to bless God for the good as for the bad. For the bad as for the good. Why? You don't really know what is bad. Sometimes you think this is terrible. Turns out later on, it's your blessing. You don't know. And everything in life, blessed be God. Does it mean that you feel great? No, blessed be God. Something good? Blessed be God. Does it mean that you are showing off all things that made $100 million? No. Blessed be God. Don't show off. Don't be critical. Just blessed be God. When came to the manna, the best food, they complained. Complainers complain not because there's something to complain about. The manna was the best food, but because they were complainers. It's a personality trait. So Moses is admonishing them for all this before he dies. And he says, Dei Zahav. Dei Zahav means gold, much gold. What does that mean? He's not going to say to them, you did a terrible thing. You built a golden calf. He's not going to say that. That's embarrassing. He says rather, Dei Zahav, much gold. We lived in a place called much gold. Too much gold can corrupt you. The golden calf is not an idol. The golden calf is in every generation. We worship money. We kill ourselves for money. We cheat for money. We fight for money. We destroy families for money. We don't go to court for money. We hate one another because of money. The golden calf. Too much gold. Too much gold. Be careful. You have too much gold. If that is your focus in life, it's not good. You won't make it. You won't make it. Your focus in life must be something higher. Otherwise you'll become a slave to money and you'll destroy yourself. You will destroy your life. You won't pass the tests of life. Too much money. Be careful. Now let me ask you, why doesn't Moses really tell them exactly what happened? Why does he say these places, just these places, were not places, but he just mentions these names? Why? Why? We have a teaching, Dai lechocham beremiza. For a wise person, it's sufficient to give a hint. You don't have to spell it out. If they don't get it after you give a hint, even a sledgehammer won't help. Because they could get it, but they don't want to get it. Give a hint. You speak beremes. Remes means a hint. If you don't get it, forget it. He'll never get it. Even a sledgehammer will not allow them to get it. So always beremes. So let me give you a modern day example so you'll be able to identify with it. There's this couple. They go to a party. He gets drunk at the party. He behaves like a fool. She can't wait to get him home and get some black coffee into him. When he comes to himself, he becomes sober. She says to him, honey, if ever you will embarrass yourself that way, embarrass me, embarrass your family, our marriage is over. Do you understand this? I will walk out. Honey, I promise you, this was crazy. I know what got into me. I will never drink again. Fine. They're back on track. 2 years down the line, they are in Palm Beach. They're going to a party. And he goes over to the bar and starts to drink. He's drinking away. She notices. She goes over, honey, they are in public, so you have to be careful. Honey, do you remember the party in New York? Do you remember the party in New York? And when we got home, I made you coffee. I made a little talk. Remember that? Wasn't that nice, honey, when we had that talk? That's enough. You don't have to admonish. You don't have to say, you drunken pig. You don't have to say that. You drunkard. You are disgusting. That will not do anything. Just, honey, do you remember? So Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us how to admonish. A hint, a place. A hint or a place. Everybody gets it? Of course you do. Of course you do. In our generation, we do not know how to do that. I've heard parents admonish children using every vile name. I heard husbands and wives admonish each other, disgusting names, terrible fights, screaming and yelling, curse words, F this and F that. It's okay to say these words today. It's politically correct. It's cool. Cool? Cool is despicable. Even the non-Jews were given the 7 laws of Noah. 7 laws of Noah. It goes for all of humankind. You are not permitted to curse. Because when you speak curse words, you invite curses. God created the world through language. Vayom Elohim, and God said, you hear, let there be light. Teaching us that language creates. Language creates. Hitler, the monster, never had a gun in his hand, never lifted a weapon. Do you know how he destroyed the world? With his lips. Galvanized the entire world. and destroy the entire world with his lips, with his tongue. You have to be very careful with your tongue. Be very careful. So today in our society, people admonish their children, but they don't admonish them. They absolutely destroy them. You a liar. You bum. Get out. You're a moron. And then of course there are much more beautiful words. I don't have to tell you. Children to parents, parents to children, husband to wife, and wife to husband. And the house becomes an inferno. So then you have to go to the shrink. And you empty your pockets, and there is no help. Your house is destroyed. Next week you go back. You know what he said? You know what she said? Tell the story again. It's a lifetime of telling stories, and there's no peace. You have to know how to admonish. And you always have to have a smile on your face. A smile in your eyes. You have to be able to reach out with your hands. I want you benefit. I love you. I'm not saying this to hurt you. It hurts me more. It's written in the book of Psalms. Shiftacho mishantacho hema yanachamuni. Your staff and your rod shall comfort me. When God uses his staff and his rod, that's a comfort. Because you know that God still cares about you. He didn't throw you away. He didn't give up on you. There's a father. He has 2 sons. One is brilliant, and the other one is just, he gives up on him. So he tells his secretary, when the one I gave up on, when he comes in, give him every week $1,000. When my other son comes in, don't give him until he brings me such and such. Him I have to train. Him I have to teach. He has no discipline. The other one will not get it. It's no use. So I have to give him the money. But the one who has potential, I have to teach him. I have to teach him. Admonish. You have to know how to admonish. As long as someone gives you a patch. A patch is, in Yiddish, it means a little slap. You know somebody still cares. Today, everybody's on their own, and no one cares. Let me ask you one more question, and think about this one. Moses is admonishing who? This is at the end of the 40th year in the desert. For 40 years, they had to traverse the desert. It was a long, long journey. They were supposed to come to Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, direct from Sinai. It should have taken just a few days. 40 years. You know why? Because they sinned. So that entire generation of man had to die out. Every Tisha B'Av, a portion of the population died and was buried. But only the men, not the women. You know why? Because the man schemed. Before they entered the land, the promised land, they schemed and they got together. Let's send spies to see if the land is good enough. Are you crazy? God brought you forth from Egypt. God did miracles for you. In the desert, he fed you. He gave you air conditioning. He protected you from wild beasts. Let's send spies. Let's see if we could conquer the land. Let's see if it's conquerable. And the women, they said, no, don't do that. Of course, God will help us. Look, he has been helping us all the time. He split the sea for us. He made the biggest miracles for us. What's the matter with you? The women refused to go. Women refused to give their blessing. The man had to die out. The women all entered the land of Israel. It occurred to me many times that perhaps that's when the problem started, that we have more girls looking for shidduchim than guys. We have an overpopulation of girls and not too many boys. Isn't that truth? So I don't know really if that's true, but I like to make it up. So in any event, the women did not remain in the desert. They all entered the promised land. The man died out. Every one of them, except for two, Yehoshua and Caleb ben Yefuneh. These two men were not part of the schemes of the spies. So how many sinned? 10. And to this day, how many people do we need for a minyan? 10, right? 10 people make a minyan. Why? Because those 10 men have to make up for that original sin. So foolishly, there are some women who think, oh, I want equality. I want to be in the minyan also. I want to be counted. I want women's minyan. Are you a fool? You didn't sin. You have to repent for that sin. So now you have the honor of being counted in the minyan, that you have to make atonement for the sin that you did, which you never did. You never did it. So you see how ignorant people are? They have no idea. They have no history. They have no understanding. In any event, that entire generation died out. This is the 40th year. The Jewish people are ready to enter the land, and Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be dying. So, why is Moses admonishing the people? Those people who sinned are dead already. They're not here. Why is he admonishing the children? These are the descendants. What's the point? Do you follow me? What's the point? So let me ask you. You're going to the doctor for a checkup. For a routine checkup. You want to get insurance. And they tell you have to come in with certain reports. You have to go for a checkup. No big deal. You're healthy. You're in good condition. Good. You go to the doctor. Routine. Just routine. You come to the doctor. And the nurse hands you a paper. Please fill this out. And look at that paper. Have you ever had mental illness in your family? Heart disease? Cancer? If yes, describe where and how. How did your parents die? Any kidney problems? And so on and so forth. Why? So go back to the nurse and you say, excuse me, I'm just here for a checkup. I'm in perfect condition. Why do I have to fill this out? The doctor wants you to fill it out, I'm sorry. But why? She said, you have to fill it out. That's it. Come into the doctor's office. Say, excuse me, doc, I just want to know, why do I have to fill out all these details? It took me such a long time. It's ridiculous. I don't suffer from any of those ailments. What does the doctor say to you? Excuse me. You have to fill it out because I have to be alert. And when I examine you, I have to watch out for those things because perhaps it's in your genes. Perhaps you are carrying it. Did your mother have breast cancer? God forbid. You have to check. If you are, God forbid, carrying the same problem. Your husband had colon cancer, your children should check it out. Everything is inherited. Be careful. The doctor has to see. One of the parents was a drunkard, had a weakness for alcohol. Be careful. You inherit it. One of the parents had a miserable temper. Be careful. You inherited. Watch out. I'm not telling you this just, to tell you a story. But I'm not interested in what happened in your family. God forbid. I wouldn't pry. But everybody should take a look tonight before they go to sleep. What did I inherit? When I was 17, what did I not like at home? What did I object to? What do I see that when I'm going to have my own home, I will be different? It won't happen in my home. And you are 40, it's worse than by your parents. Much worse. Be careful. Don't fall into the trap. Be careful and be a proper role model to your children, because one day they will remember when my mom was sick, she became bitter and angry, or perhaps they will remember when my mom became sick. She never lost her faith. She was always kind. When my dad lost his job, became miserable, couldn't talk to him, or will they remember that when my dad lost his job, he never told us, always kept a cheerful face, always said everything is good, only found out later. What is the legacy that you leave behind? Ask yourself, how will you be remembered? How will you be remembered? And go through your entire life. Be careful, don't emulate the bad, only emulate the good. Only emulate the good. Can you do it? Well, in our Sikh culture, in a Sikh society, you say, well, you come from a dysfunctional family, these are the facts of life. The kids, they come from the inner city, you can't blame them. They grew up here, they grew up there, and they saw this, they saw that, didn't have a proper home. You can't blame them for being delinquents. Really? Really? Do you know your Torah? Do you know your Torah? Do you know that the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had difficult situations? They would have been all candidates for the shrinks. Abraham came from a family, our father, the patriarch Abraham, where his own father Terach threw him into a crematoria to be burned because he didn't believe in the idols. And reported on him to Nimrod, who was the Hitler of those days. Can you imagine having such a father? And that man, Abraham, became the architect of loving kindness. Chesed. Came from such a home, such a misery, and always respected his father, would never do anything against his father. No child is permitted to be a witness against his father. No one. No one is to intervene between the problems between parents. Your father was a bum, become a prince to make up for it. A mother, Rebecca, had a father whose name was Besuel. What Besuel means? An expert in virgins. I don't have to say more. She became the mother of Am Yisrael, Mother Rebecca, a holy woman. A holy woman. She had a brother, Laban, who was treacherous. The Haggadah of Pesach says that he was worse than Pharaoh. That was her big brother. She became a holy woman. The mother of Isaac. The mother of Jacob. The mother of Jacob. And Jacob had a brother, Esau, who wanted to kill him. He had to run for his life. He was constantly pursued. He was robbed. He was destroyed. He had everything negative in his life. He became the patriarch of the 12 tribes. There was a miserable man by the name of Korach who made a revolution against Moses. He was jealous. He was consumed by jealousy. So he wanted to unseat Moses. He went from this place to that place, talked to this one, to that, politics all over. Moses believes in nepotism. Let's get rid of him. Made a rebellion against Moses. He had a terrible punishment. The earth opened up beneath him. He was swallowed up. And the entire congregation saw it. What do you think happened to his sons? What is the holiest day in the Jewish calendar year? The high holidays, right? And Rosh Hashanah, we go to the synagogue. And what is the holiest moment on Rosh Hashanah? We blow the shofar. Correct or not? And what do we do when we blow the shofar? Right before we blow the shofar, we say, Lam Natziach Libnei Korach. This is the psalm that the sons of Korach wrote. You know who came from his family? Samuel the prophet. Do you understand this? Nonsense that you are bound by the limitations of your family. Moshe Rabbeinu admonishes the people, watch out, take care, and become stronger than the problem. It says, Sheva Yipol Tzadik, 7 times a righteous man can fall, 7 times he stands up. How does he become righteous? By standing up after he falls. You fell down, you messed up your life, stand up, start all over again. Start all over again. Don't hide under the covers. Never mind, don't go into depression. Don't live by pills. Get rid of the pills and enter your soul. Probe your soul. Come to the classes. Torah will teach you how to live, how to have values. You're wasting your time when you get on the couch and repeat the same thing all over again. And give exotica to your problems. Not my fault. Somebody picked on you, somebody's destroying you, scapegoating. I come from the wrong family, from the wrong school, from the wrong neighborhood. You know the story. The whole country is based upon scapegoating. Stand up and make your life. So Moshe Rabbeinu admonishes the children. Be careful. You saw your fathers. You saw what happened here. Now you're entering the promised land. Never forget. And it says 11 days it could have taken. 11 days. Instead it took 40 days. What's 11? 11 is an amazing number, but people don't know it. 9/11. On 9/11, everything was 11. 9 and 1 and 1. 11. All the flight numbers were 11. Study it. You see. Everything on that day was 11. We know that 11 could spell danger or salvation, depending upon us. Depending upon us. The non-Jewish world also picked this 11 number up from us. Many of the things, most of the things that we have, they borrowed, but we don't know it, so we think it's original by the non-Jewish world. When you are in danger, what do? Where do you die? 911. When you have real problem, what do you say? The 11th hour. Yes or no? In 11 days you could have been in the land of Israel. But because of your stubbornness, because of your lack of gratitude, and you saw all the miracles, people could see miracles, but if they don't want to see it, they don't see it. God helps them. I had once a congregant in our community, my husband's congregation. There was a man. He didn't belong to a synagogue. He belonged to a neighboring Reformed temple. One day he knocks on our door. We don't even know him. He starts to cry, Rabbi. He says that his wife was diagnosed with cancer. And she has to have major surgery. So my husband, the tzaddik, the holy one, Rabbi Rebbetzin Jungreiss, takes him to synagogue, opens the ark. My husband gives him his own tefillin. We make his house kosher. He starts to come to synagogue on Shabbos. Gives up his tennis. And so on and so on. I take her to mikveh. The day comes. She has to go in. My husband and I go with them. And we are waiting. They wheeled her into the OR. A few minutes later, the doctor comes back, the surgeon. I don't know how to explain this. I examined her again. The tumor is gone. I'm telling you, this is what happened. What he did? Damn it to hell! For this I had to give up my tennis? Misdiagnosis. I could sue you. You made my life miserable. You frightened me. I have a case against you. Misdiagnosis. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? An open miracle. No, there's no such a thing. Misdiagnosis. What are you, crazy, believe in the fairy tales? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? The perversion of modern man? If it's not scientific, it can't exist. There's some hocus pocus that you're not aware of. Scientists will study it and they'll come up with it. They'll come up with the real answer. Look into your heart. Look into your soul. 11 days could have been there. Life could have been so different, but you messed up. Your husband messed up, your wife messed up, your kids messed up. Is it too late? No, you could fix it. Start all over again. Start a new life. It says, Mother, have it. What was, bury it. It's gone. Don't live in the past. Only take from the past, glean from the past that which will help you. And the rest discard. Look at me, a child of the concentration camps. Am I going to go back to Bergen-Belsen and Auschwitz every day? Am I? Move on. Move on. So now we continue. Let me see what time. Okay, so we're going to, I have a problem, I always do. It's always late and I can't get in all the things I want to share with you. So let's see. Just one thought over here. It says that Moses admonished the people after he attacked Og Melech HaBashan. After he attacked Og, the king of Bashan, and he won the victory on behalf of the people, that's when he admonished. Now, what on earth is this all about? Before you admonish, you have to demonstrate, I'm your friend. Moses did so many things, everything he did for the people, everything. He split the sea for them. He gave them food. He gave them manna. He did everything that a human being and more. He did everything. The 10 plagues on Egypt, gave up his entire life for them. It was called the Roa Neman, the loyal shepherd. A shepherd doesn't expect to get paid. Does he expect that those little lambs would say to him, Mr. Shepherd, we want to give you a salary? Of course not. The shepherd is just watching his flock, feeding his flock. That was Moses. But when it comes to things, people forget. People are ingrates. People forget you cannot depend on anyone. There is no Hakora Stov in this country. There is no appreciation or gratitude. That was yesterday. What did you do for me lately? What did you do for me lately? So Moses speaks to the people after he destroyed Og that he did lately. Because they forgot about the other things. What did you do for me lately? Children were nurtured by their mothers and their fathers. A mother gives up her whole life to take care of her child, and then the child becomes an ingrate, goes off. Oh, please, what do you want from me? Always, nah. I'm sick and tired of hearing it. What did you do for me lately? You did nothing for me lately. Nothing. Oh, sure. So, when I was a kid, so who cares? That doesn't count. Doesn't count. Do you understand this? If you just learn one word from someone, you have to be eternally grateful to them. That is the meaning of the Torah. Gratitude forever. When we came to this country from the concentration camps, we moved into a cellar. My father, the chief rabbi, didn't have any means. What could he do? We were penniless from the concentration camps, so we lived in a cellar. I became very ill. We didn't know what it was. We didn't have a doctor. Neighbor called the doctor and paid for it, and paid for medication. I had chicken pox, but we didn't know it. From that day on, my father and my mother made me go every Shabbos, every Friday. And I had to take a chali to her home, to this lady, who called the doctor. To be honest with you, did she do a big deal? Who would not call a doctor for a poor family that just came from the concentration camp and the child is lying in high fever? You have to be cruel not to do it. It's normal, right? But I had to go every Friday to say thank you and deliver a challah. Don't take anything for granted. At my wedding, she was seated at the dais with the family. My father never allowed anyone to forget any small deed. My father went every week to the hospitals. And my mother made cookies, and my father gave it out to all the nurses and all the doctors, not because he knew them, but to say thank you for the care they give to the patients. Did they give good care? I doubt it. But my father gave them that candy or that cake or that cookie. Thank you for your goodness. I'm good. Maybe I should be good. Maybe I should be good. So now I'll tell you one more passage, and then I think we'll have to say good night. So, Moshe Rabbeinu is now really telling them what is in his heart. Hashem Elokechem, He Boeschem, God multiplied you. Kochvei Hashemayim, like the stars of the heaven, Larav for many. Elokim Vosechem Yosef Alechem, and the Almighty God should increase the blessings upon you. Elef Pani, 1,000 more. By Rechel, so many blessed them. Kasher Diber Lochem, as he said. And then he says, Icho eso levadi, how can I take by myself? Estor chachem, you constant quarreling, you anger, you bitterness, you rebellion. How can I carry it all by myself? And he mentioned some other of the terrible things that they did. So why does he say to them, God should bless you? God should make you like the stars of the heaven. Because when we are angry, when we admonish, we say, I love you. Come here, I love you. God should bless you. God, please don't listen to my words. I don't mean it that my child, my son, my people, my brother and my sister should be punished. I just want to help them. Please, God. God should bless you. Make you like the stars of the heavens. Do you understand this? I remember to this day that if my father and my mother, my holy saintly parents, had a difference of opinion, how did they do that? You know what my father would say in Yiddish? My lichtige Kind, my precious light, he would say to my mother, sei gesund, be healthy, be well. That was the admonishment. My precious child, he would say to my mother, be well, sei gesund. In Hebrew, in Yiddish that is, if you want to say something, stop it, sei gesund, be well. Be healthy. Do you understand this? Learn this from Moshe. God should make you like the stars of the heaven. God should bless you. For what? Because you fought about me. You fought over me. You made my life miserable. So that's my answer. God should bless you, yes. I don't hold anything against you. God should bless you. But he tells them, don't do that. And then he says in the name of God through the prophet Isaiah, Bonim Gidal Devarim, I raised and elevated children, Vehim Poshubu, and they rebelled against me. They rebelled against me, God says. Yudasho Konehu, an ox knows its keeper. Chamor was Bala, a donkey knows the hand that feeds it. Yisrael lo Yoda, my people Israel do not know. Ami lo Hizbanin, my nation does not consider. Listen to the words of Isaiah. Yoda Hasho Konehu, an ox knows its keeper. Bonim Gidal Tiver, I raised and nurtured children, then Poshubi, they rebelled against me. An ox knows its keeper, a donkey the hand that feeds it, but my people do not know, they don't want to know. You're a mother, you're a father, your children never come home. They never come home. Never talk to you. Where are my children, God says? An ox knows, a donkey knows, but my children do not know me. Let me ask you a question. We are going to be commemorating the destruction of the Holy Temple this Monday night and Tuesday. I invite all of you to come here Monday night. We move the benches. We sit Shiva. We are sitting Shiva for a Holy Temple. We sit on the floor. We don't wear shoes. We wear sneakers or slippers. And we sit down on the floor. And God has to come to comfort us. We are sitting Shiva. The temple is gone. So let me ask you a question now. Who should weep more for the temple? Jews who are living in Israel or we who are here? Who should weep? Who should mourn? Who has a greater obligation? For 2,000 years we, the Jewish people, have never forgotten our temple. At every wedding we break a glass. People do not know why, but we break the glass because we remember Zecher, remember the holy temple. Zecher Mikdash, in memory of the holy temple. We never forget. Rosh Hashanah Habo B'Yerushalayim next year in Jerusalem. We never forgot in 2,000 years. Even if we don't understand it, we say the words. But now we are in Israel. Who should be crying for the temple? Don't answer me. Don't answer me. But ask yourself tonight before you go to sleep, did you ever cry for the Holy Temple? Ever? Did you ever think about the Holy Temple? There is no more. Did you ever think about it? Did you ever think about the pain of God who lost his children? Bonim Gidal Mamti, I raised and nurtured children. Vehim Poshubi, and they rebelled against me. Yudasho Konehu, an ox knows its keeper. Chamor was Bala, a donkey, the hand that feeds it. Yisrael Yododa, the Jewish people do not know. Ani lo Hizbanin, my nation does not consider, does not stop to think. Did you ever cry for the temple? Ever cry for the pain of your Heavenly Father who lost his children? You ever think of coming home and saying, Abba, Daddy, Daddy, can I come in? And would say, oh, I'm so happy to see you. You look so tired. How are you, my child? How have you been? And you're full of dirt. And your garments are torn. Come, let me help you. That's what your father would say. Let me help you. But no one knocks on his door. No one. So who should mourn for Jerusalem? Who has a greater obligation? So let me tell you a true story. right after the Holocaust. A woman who lost 10 children in the gas chambers because children were killed immediately. Children never slept over. As soon as they got off the train, the cattle cars, they were giving their sleeping quarters, please, the gas chambers. In fact, I'm here, you see a miracle. I'm teaching Torah. I'm here from the ashes. You see a miracle. Do you understand this? Now, this woman lost 10 children. And she goes to this Rebbe. And she says to the Rebbe, I had a son, Chaim. I had a daughter, Rachala. And she describes each child. In those days, children who were orphaned and who were languishing in DP camps, displaced persons camp, and could not go anywhere because there was no entree to any country unless you had a visa, and the British were in charge of the land of Israel, and they would not allow any Jews to come in except for a few because they want to appease and please the Arabs. They were with the Arabs. But there was such a program, it's called Aliyat Noah. Aliyat Noah meant that children who were orphaned were given priority, and they tried to manage to bring them to Israel. This rabbi was working with Aliyat Noah, with these children who were orphans who came to Israel. And this poor woman is describing all of her children, every one of them. And she says, my Yankala. She describes him. And the Rebbe says, let me hear that again. And she describes him again. And he says, I think I met a Yankala amongst the children from Aliyat Noah in this kibbutz. She says, what? It cannot be. I was told that he was good in the gas chambers with his siblings. No, I think I met a Yankala. He sounds just like your son. Come back tomorrow. I'll bring him. You'll see if he's your son or not. She goes away crying. She comes back the next day. The Rebbe's there with Yankala. Yankala! Mama! And Yankala says, where is David? Where is Rachala? Where is Tati? Where is Daddy? And he goes to everybody. These two, they're not here. We come to the land of Israel. We live in the land of Israel. Do we say, where is the Beis HaMikdash? Where is the temple? Does anyone say that? Anyone? Where should we go to eat? What's a good place to shop? What's a fun place to go to? Anyone say, oh, where is the temple, the Beit HaMikdash? Does it occur to anyone? Do you understand what happened to us as a nation? We don't know who we are. We don't even know who to cry for because we do not know what to cry for. We never met our father. We are all adopted children. And we never remembered. We never remember, and we can't remember our biological parents. Our Father in heaven. Where is David? Where is the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple? We don't know how to ask that question. And this new generation doesn't even understand that could be a question. They don't even understand that a question could be asked. They don't know. They never remembered, they never met David, Chaim, Rachala. So I want to ask you, each and every one of you, this Monday night, come over here. Let's sit Shiva together for for a holy temple, and God will come to be in Mechemovel to give a Shiva call. And let's ask him to please build the holy temple for us that we really do want it. But we forgot. He should please forgive us. But we forgot. And then Tuesday, come in the afternoon. I'll be speaking. We're going to show some films that will open your eyes and heart. And then we'll pray. And then we'll have breakfast together. On Tisha B'Av, we fast. If you are sick and need medication, just take the medication with a little bit of water. But fast. Come and join us. It says, it's a time of suffering for the Jewish people. Many Yerushia, but from that will come help and salvation. Then it says, Eli Zion, weep for Zion, weep for her cities, Kamo Isha B'tzerecha, like you would weep for a woman who is in labor. Woman in labor is screaming, I need help, I need help, I need medication, I'm so full of pain. And then suddenly, when she thinks she can no longer take it, Mazel Tov, the baby is here. So one day, very soon, God will send us that baby, the Holy Temple. Mazel Tov, Yidden. Mazel Tov, Jewish people. You survived exile, and you are still Jews. Forgive me for my tears. But how can I not cry? How can I not cry? So we have to tell Hashem, please forgive us. But we've been in exile for almost 2,000 years in the most craziest countries, in the most craziest cultures. We had to wrestle with everything. So what do you expect from us, God? But we are still Jews. And we still love you. So please build your holy temple. Now let's become your nation again. Take us back. So I want to wish all of you a good Shabbos. We should have blessing. Forgive me again for my tears. But I cannot help but cry when I think about our tragedy. On your way out, we have challah for you for Shabbos as a gift